Understand something. Plain and simple. To me, Abigail was a delicious poison. An intoxicating, overwhelming poison. Yowie wowie! That felt good! Yowie wowie. Let me in.
Holy crap. I think that's all we can say. Yes, this is another episode of Abby's Window. And obviously since we just had a very, very special occasion and the return of the Fiend, we had to have the whole crew here. So here's the whole crew. We're here, and Tazzy is lit, literally, and I think we're all buzzing about this. So obviously, we have, as always, our Abby, your Abby, Jodie Gilly. Jodie, what's up? Pretty much. Pretty much. We got obviously JB Tazzy.
Oh, you know what it is. It's an Abby's party, baby.
That's right. That's right. And then, of course, we got to have Joe. Got to have Joe. Joe, you're festive right now, so
I'm a little frightened of that behind me. I'm a little frightened. I'm backing away just a little bit. Yeah, dude. Man, what can you say? Just absolutely amazing. I spent the last half hour or so just giving shout outs to Jason Baker, Kyle, the whole team of Jason Bakers and the job that they did. Man, amazing.
Yeah. So we've got to start with this one moment that I think all of us, when we saw this, we were like, maybe this is all we get. Mm-hmm. And that's this moment right here. and we get that hand, coming out of the ring. And obviously, I mean, just look at the detail and everything there. But Jodie, when you first saw this hand just come up out of the ring, what was your, I mean, I saw your reaction, but internally, what were you thinking at that moment?
Well, first of all, I want to say sorry that we are not live, that we had to pre-record this, but I will be on a plane while you guys are watching this, flying back home to Indiana. So, didn't really put those two together when I booked my flight, but, it is what it is. So I'm sorry that we're not live with you right now, but this moment, I literally thought, like you said, this was all we were going to get, which I would have been totally okay with. I thought, sorry, I might have a blue tongue. I just ate a cupcake. I thought that he was going to pull him under the ring and we were going to get a big column of fire and that was going to be it. And I would have been totally okay with that. Like, that would have been perfect. Because I still internally kind of thought, we won't really see what the Fiend's, I've been saying it for weeks, we won't really see what the Fiend's going to look like until Mania, because that's the big pop. It's, and then, he moved away and you got the fire column and all of a sudden the Fiend starts coming up out of the ring and we were all just sitting here going, what is going on right now? Oh my gosh. So, yeah, after all of that was over and everything had subsided and all the excitement, I, just like you, Joe, I immediately messaged Kyle and I was like, dude, you are a beautiful, beautiful soul. So,
I mean, just that photo.
I mean, just the detail, like,
yeah,
obviously, I mean, it's a glove, I would assume. It's a glove, but I mean, just the amount of detail in that one picture, you can see that, his hurt glove is partially burned off. All you can see is the U and the R, and I mean, it's just amazing.
It really is. And Joe, your thoughts on when we first got this moment. What did you think, man?
I was thinking the same thing as Jodie was. When we first saw that happen, I mean, calling that was overcoming me as well, because I'm like, what just popped out of the ring floor? And then you see the hand, and then again, I thought that was going to be a fade to black. I literally thought they were going to drag him down, and boom, and that was all we were getting. I didn't expect anything else. And when we got him starting to then rise up from under there, I'm like, oh my God, like this is absolutely amazing. And you're right. Like the attention to, that's the thing, man. You really have to give kudos to these guys we're horror buffs. We like horror. But man, how far this stuff has come. When, you see these animatronics from like the 80s and stuff, and I posted it immediately. It went to Friday the 13th Part 8 for me, because Jason was burned in that movie, and he looked, he was missing flesh, and and you could see the bones in his cheeks, and on that, immediately I thought of that, and I'm like, well, look, Jason Baker then almost immediately, like Jodie said, posted that he and his team did this. And they work for Tom Savini. So it's just brilliant. And then we saw Kyle tweeted out the artwork for it as well. So just brilliant, man. And we could go into more detail about what it looks like and stuff like that. But it was absolutely brilliant. And
it's not a mask; it's a piece of art. Like,
man, so it was
art, and it's a beautiful piece of art.
Oh, it was so good. It really was just so good. And I didn't expect it. And that was kind of where I think that was kind of why I marked out it as much as I did, because I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. And then Tazzy, we then we get the real emergence. I mean, we get this moment, and my goodness, man, what did I mean? Again, going back to initial thoughts. What were you thinking? I mean, we've gotten past the hand. Now we see this. What's going through your mind as a Bray Wyatt fan and the return of this character?
Tassie's playing with fire.
when we like do our predictions and stuff like that, and you're like, we say something that you're like, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. And everybody if everybody saw the predictions, they're like, oh, I hope you're wrong. I was wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Bray Wyatt.
Thank you, Bray Wyatt. Maybe the fire brought him back. But I was like looking at the. First of all, I just told Joey this too. I'm like, the Kyle pictures are starting to make a lot of sense now. The melted hand, the melted face. I'm like, yeah, dude. I was trying not to be too loud because I'm like, I saw it like, holy, what the like, dude, like when I said in the beginning, when we was talking about how the mask gonna look, I think when I was on Abby's around the time, and I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be a burnt mask. I was expecting melted.
Well, he did get set on fire. So.
Right. So I'm like sitting there like, oh my God, this is awesome, dude. This mask, the detail, and everything. It's like, even with the arms, it's amazing. It's amazing. And like Joe said, that this looked like Jason right before they turned into before he turned into the was it Jason X?
Yep.
Yeah, that reminds me. That's why I'm like, I don't think this is finished. I really don't think it's finished. But like I said, I was excited, and I can't wait. If you guys make sure you're available to watch Raw. Watch Raw tonight. I'm just saying, make sure.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously before we got this, we got a lot of stuff from Alexa, and a lot of mind games, a lot of different things with Randy, and I mean, it kind of plays into what we've seen leading up to this point. So, Jodie, I guess let's start here. Where do you think this all heads in terms of Alexa? Now we have the Fiend back. I don't even know if we can say the Fiend because we don't know, honestly. I mean, maybe Fiend, but we don't know if this is the Fiend. Maybe there's a different name for what we just saw. But what do you think? How do you think Alexa plays into the next steps of this story?
I think she just solidified herself as, the one who brought him back. I mean, she worked on that for weeks and weeks, trying to get him back and figure out how she brought him back and how to bring him back. Mm-hmm. So I think, we probably see a lot of that. I wonder how the Funhouse is going to play into this. If we get the Firefly Funhouse back, what that's going to look like. What's Funhouse Bray going to look like? What are the puppets going to look like? Kyle did post all that art about, these dark puppets. Is that what we're going to start to see going forward? These, is the Funhouse burned as well? And, obviously we've seen with the gloves, on the Fiend, the gloves are burned off, and the gloves are something that Funhouse Bray wears a lot. So are they going to be like that? Are they going to be different? Is Funhouse Bray going to still be Funhouse Bray the way he was? I don't know. I'm so excited to find out all of those little questions. But I think, you definitely could go down the route of, Alexa was the one that brought him back and kind of her being rewarded for that in a way. It is, and talking about, is the Fiend going to continue to change and evolve his look as it goes along? My husband actually called me right after all of that and said, have you recorded Abby's yet? And I said, no. And he said, think about this. You remember The Mummy? The movie The Mummy. And when he first came back, he was not complete. He needed things to become, the whole mummy, and then he was going to be unstoppable. And with every person that he killed, he took something from them. And the more he did that, the more he started to look like a real person again. And I think it could definitely go down that route this time. What if the Fiend starts to inherit things from people he gets revenge on? What if he goes after Randy and he gets, one of his whole gloves back? Or, we've talked a lot about it going through this process of revenge and getting in the circles and getting revenge for people that have hurt him in the past, that Bray is healing himself. And we've talked about that a lot. And I think this may be a good way to physically show that he's healing himself. But I don't really know what's next now. I'm just really happy that he's back.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. One of the things that I thought is, what happens to a snake? It sheds its skin. And when it comes to Randy, obviously he's known as the Viper. Mm-hmm. So what if, after defeating Randy, he gets kind of scaled? Mm-hmm. You know, you see what I'm saying? And then at some point, he sheds those scales to reveal a new form. Just
Aren't there cultures out there that actually use
yes,
scales like snake skin to heal burns?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Joe. So I got to ask you about this. When this whole thing started out, there were some people who were a little bit leery of Alexa being involved, and they didn't know how she'd fit. If you could tell me a little bit about your thoughts on how you feel Alexa has done in this role and kind of advancing this story, and what you think could be next for Alexa and Bray.
That's a good question. I don't. I mean, some people were saying that he should have involved other people. You know, his brother being one of them. That they maybe should have came up with another Wyatt family. This and that. I don't think so. At least not yet. And I know Jodie had mentioned that before. It doesn't really fit the story. But I think involving a woman, a female wrestler, right, in this whole thing. And I think they went with a little almost like a classic Beauty and the Beast kind of thing at first. But then it morphed into the fact that she stepped into the role. She stepped into Bray's role while he was gone. And she has done, look, and I know I'm not the only one who thinks it, because this has been said a lot about Alexa on a lot of places. Many of the wrestling sheets are saying she's doing some of the best work she's done in her career during this story. And I am behind that 100%. She has kept the interest, and I know you guys have said this, she's kept everybody's interest on this storyline progressing throughout. So there's been no loss, even though Bray has been gone. And yes, everybody missed him. Everybody wanted him back. But Alexa was able to just make that all the more. And tonight, I think you got even more of something that Alexa's going to be going down the road. Her face, if you looked, and it was kind of hard to see sometimes because of the lighting, but her face was white. She had a white face, and she's looking more and more different now every time we see her. And I think maybe that's going to continue. So I think she's done a tremendous job, and I don't think they could have picked a better wrestler to do that. Alexa she was always a favorite of WWE, even before all this started. She was kind of floundering a little bit. She had that storyline going, Nikki, that didn't really seem like there was anything much going on there. It was kind of like, yeah, we're friends and we're a tag team and stuff like that, but they were losing a lot and stuff like that. So I think it's great. And I mean, everybody was making it the whole Joker and Harley thing. I don't think so anymore. I really don't. I don't think that's where they're going with this. I think it's almost at the point where she's kind of an equal now as far as an entity or a supernatural entity to him. Maybe not in strength, but being that kind of and like Jodie said, if she is the catalyst that brings him back, well, then she's got to have a lot of power on her own. So I think she's doing great.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think she's doing an amazing job. I thought it was really interesting during this match, the different things that we saw her do. Tazzy. And then I want to go back. I want to go to all of you on this because, just the looks that she gave, especially the moment where she's smiling and then she stops, she looks down and then she looks up and the lights fall down. Tazzy, that moment for you, like in terms of everything that she was doing with the fire, the lights and everything, just talk to me a little bit about what you think that says about her power and how that translates into this story just continuing to evolve going down the line.
A female Undertaker. That's what I'm basically seeing. By the way, kudos to like Joe said, kudos to Alexa Bliss. She was hurt for a while. before last year, and to see her actually healthy and more likely after she get done with this, she can actually get back to the main scene of the title. So shout outs to her. Yeah, a female Undertaker. I actually will love that. It's I can't really describe it. It's like you see a lightning bolt come down in the sky. You see fire. She's shooting flames. Insane. I don't think she even had that thing she had before in her hand. It was just actually like wow. And then it seemed like she just, how can I put this? She's just like brought the Fiend. Like she was like looking at the floor, at the ground of the apron, and like next thing you know, fire comes out and there goes the hand. I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like, this in the future, I'm looking forward to how she's gonna look. I don't think she really needs a mask. Maybe just to like do one for one off so she can sell it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then just have the white face. The white face goes great. White face goes great, and then she'll wear black with it in the future. Because like right after WrestleMania, we're more likely to get fans slowly. So you won't be able to do the all magic stuff again. So she probably will have to come out as her new gimmick. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about what she's going to turn into.
Jeff, that picture, by the way, and I know we're on late at night and we're recording, but that picture you just posted, dude, that is the fucking shit. All right. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. That picture is and I don't care. that picture is right there. That picture. Oh my God, does that remind me of slasher films so much? I like
the one where she's looking up at him.
Oh, that one's good too. Mm-hmm. But this one here with the lighting, the purple and everything. Oh my God, that is so cool. That is so good.
The one with the when his half his body coming out of the apron, with the glowing. Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. Great lighting on that.
Jodie. Basically, same thing I just asked Azzy. I mean, what she's done has been incredible, but how does this all translate into what's next?
I think a lot depends on the story that Bray wants to tell. I think, as WWE creative wise, I think you have a lot of opportunity to do some mixed tag team matches, like the Fiend and Alexa Bliss versus Karrion Kross and Scarlett. There's a lot of opportunity for things like that. Yeah. Right. Who doesn't want to see that? But it has to make sense for Bray. And as a fan, we want him to continue to be in full control over this and how his story gets told. And we're all along for the ride, but I definitely think from a business perspective, that would be a good way to go, would be to do some mixed tag team matches. Alexa is very injury prone, which we've come to find. So I think this character really works for her because she doesn't right now, she hasn't been in those big physical matches until, and she can continue to do that until she's really ready to start doing things like that. And she, I don't know if she ever will. I don't know if she's going to continue to stay in this role as, his partner in this whole journey, or if he's going to start adding her revenge story into his and how this is going to mold together. There's been a lot of talk about, that WWE's copyrighted The Witch. Maybe she kind of moves into a role like that. She kind of Sister Abigail. I hate to say it that way because I know it drives people crazy to say oh, Alexa's sister Abigail, but she's a kind of like a new version of it, I guess. Not that she is sister, she's just a personification of it, I guess. Because obviously, we still have Abby in the window, but I think she could definitely take on a role like that. If Abby was sort of that mothering, nurturing figure for Bray, Alexa could be that mothering, nurturing figure for the Fiend. So we may continue to see her in a role like that where, she doesn't do a lot of the physical matches because she's kind of injury prone, which is really sad because she's an amazing wrestler. But yeah, that role definitely gives her the freedom to not do it. And if she does have a match and gets injured, she can continue to do the things that she's doing. She doesn't have to leave TV for months because she got injured, because she can still do Alexa's Playground things. She can still do Funhouse things. So it's a very versatile role for both of them, both Bray and Alexa. And I'm just really, really excited to see where it's going. I haven't really fully digested a lot of it. So I don't quite have any theories yet, like big theories. I still obviously see them as reflections and mirror images of each other. Even more so now. But so I'm just really looking forward to where it's going to go. Looking forward to the merch. Of course, we're going to get new merch.
Got to get new merch. And Joe, where do you think this lands heading into WrestleMania? Like, obviously that's where we're headed. What do you think we get at WrestleMania?
Well, first to go with your merch thing, and I just had to point this out because I bought this shirt, and it's almost like you don't even realize it until afterwards. But if you look at that newest Firefly Funhouse shirt that he put out, look at the pictures. You have Abby bleeding from the eyeballs. You have Huskus with blood coming out of his mouth. You have the clown face of the Fiend in the background bleeding out people. You have Mercy the Buzzard with blood. I mean, did they advance that and and nobody even noticed? Like, you saw the artwork on that and you're like, oh shit. And now, like, you think, yeah, okay.
Hidden in plain sight. That's what Bray likes to do.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, the shirt's been out for months. I mean, I own it, and I didn't even stop to think. Like, is that the advancement of where this is going? But where is it going to WrestleMania? That's a great question. I agree with Jodie, and I don't think this is going to be the final form we're going to get. I think this is the start of a path. Now, is it going to be completed at Mania? Maybe, depending on what type of match this ends up being. And that whole Firefly Funhouse thing this time could be much, much more demented and much, much more horrific. We got a little bit of a fun one with Cena. Mm-hmm. So maybe the Funhouse match matches what he is going after. And with Cena, it was kind of a little more fun in games. And then, yes, he got Cena to do what he wanted, which was to turn bad at the end of it. And then he beat him. Now with Randy, this is going to be, I think, something completely different. And where they do this or whether they start, that's where I think it's headed. I think we're getting a Firefly Funhouse too, although I think this is going to be very, very different. And I think it's going to be very much more horror-centric and very much more, violence-centric, so to speak. But that's where I think we're going. I think that will probably spell the end of the feud. Whatever he's going to do to Randy, it's going to be over here. And I think Randy will take some time off. Randy deserves some time off. I mean, the guy's been going strong since before COVID. So I think he'll take some time off. He'll take some time away from TV. So whatever he's going to do now, but I don't think it's just going to be where he ends up pinning him at the end of the match like he did with Cena. I think it's going to be something way more sinister, where he's going to, I mean, he may rip him down into the depths of hell. I mean, it could
Or
be
set him
something
on fire.
or right. Like there's going to be something very, very violent to come out of this. But that's where I think we're going. I think we're marching on to WrestleMania. But like Jodie said, what's interesting to me is, and we talked about this a little bit during the show, what do we see next? So do we see him on Raw? Jodie doesn't think so. And it's very possible that's true. We may not see anything now. You may not see Alexa. You may not see him. You may just see Randy coming back, and Randy is going to be paranoid as hell as to what's going to happen to him. So he's going to be jumping at shadows. Or, we could see, I don't know. And I guess that's really what's cool about it. We don't really know. We don't really know. It's going to be fun though. I'll tell you that much. It's going to be fun.
I mean, it's been a heck of a ride so far. And Tazzy, isn't it interesting how we haven't seen Bray Wyatt or the Fiend since TL?
December 20th.
Jodie can tell you the time, the minute, the hour, the second, and the millisecond of when he was here last.
Isn't it crazy how we haven't seen him since then? And I know on Abby's for the last probably month, everybody's like, he just needs to come back. He just needs to come back. He's going to be back tonight. He's going to be back tomorrow. All this stuff. And then we get what we get tonight. And then it's like these last few months never happened. And we're at a heightened state of just being enthralled in this story. So, I mean, isn't that kind of odd?
First of all, shout out to you and Jodie for actually doing that for the last 3 months. Because I don't know how in the world you pull that off. Talking about the Fiend and he is not around. They're like, okay, because I'm literally in the chat almost of the time. I'm like, yeah. I can't be doing this. This reminds me. You remember when we got the cocoon right after he got burned?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having actually the cocoon, we're actually seeing broad daylight. We're actually looking at it. So we might see changes very slowly. Like Jodie said, we're like going to see it. We're going to see it in broad daylight. We're like, oh, look, his hands look better. I'm like, what's this? Yeah,
but they'll be subtle because that's what Bray does.
Right. So, and then I'll add to that. What I think we're going to see at WrestleMania is we'll probably get half cinematic and half ring, since it's going to actually be a crowd, and you do not want to have a full cinematic. I know it's a big screen there, but and me being at the show where they did the horror match, we saw it on screen. It was cool because you're like, oh, it's like a promo kind of like, but they actually ended at the ring, so it's like, oh, we saw the finish. So I like that. I'm totally down with that. Just don't make it full cinematic. But yeah, it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be dark. Sorry, Randy. And honestly, I'm saying this. I'm sorry for whoever the Fiend, whoever pissed off the Fiend next. Like, I'm a little worried about. I know I'm jumping the gun. But I'm a little worried about AJ right now.
Yeah.
So,
that little nuance comment that he made. Yeah,
kind of was like I literally said like, don't say that word. What are you doing?
Don't mess with that. Yeah.
And I am excited for the next 3 weeks, just for the build. It's going to be fun. Craziness, Undertaker-ish. Lots of I see you. You might start getting although again, if I can say it, it's not too late here. Puppet watch. So yeah, you're gonna start seeing that. So I'm excited. I can't wait.
So I just had a thought here, Jodie. And as Tazzy was talking, we got that picture of the cocoon, right?
Mhm.
And you mentioned earlier that he may beat people and take different parts and heal in that way. What if this is the cocoon?
Mm.
What if this is the actual cocoon?
Mhm.
That whatever form emerges burst out of this cocoon that he's now currently wearing and is in. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's definitely plausible because you can see like they tried very, very hard to make sure none of his skin was exposed.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was definitely a reason for that because he may be changing over because I would imagine that that jacket and the vest would be not just the mask, but it's a very bulky jacket. He's got tape around his arms, like that would be really, really difficult to wrestle in. So I definitely can see that this current look is the cocoon and he'll be kind of evolving over time as he kind of heals himself. The good thing, and I know this is going to drive people crazy too, the good thing about his current look is that you can have somebody step into that costume
Mm-hmm.
because he's completely covered from head to toe, and you would never know that was not Bray Wyatt. Obviously tonight it was Bray Wyatt, but if you wanted to do something like Bray versus the Fiend,
Now you can.
now you can do things like that. If you wanted to have an actual interaction between, not necessarily a match like, Bray Wyatt and the Fiend having a match, but you can have actual interactions with them with an outfit like that.
Right.
If you have someone that's similar build, you can definitely do things like that and have actual interactions between Funhouse Bray and the Fiend. Not that they would choose to do anything like that, but it's whatever makes sense and that dark noggin of his.
Yeah. So you said that you don't think we see him on Raw tomorrow night.
Going off of his history, he's kind of notorious for not being at the show right after a pay-per-view. Given that it's like what 2 weeks away from Mania,
It'll be 19 days tomorrow.
so we get what 2 Raws before Mania.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think it's plausible to not have something from him. Either a Funhouse, we see Funhouse Bray, whatever, because you've only got 2 Raws to build up to this Mania match. And now that the Fiend is back, obviously it's moving towards the Fiend versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. You've got to build that up a little. It's already highly anticipated. We're already very excited about it, but you've got to do a little bit of build up because now, we've had the Fiend come back and we're like, and we can kind of breathe a little bit. We've had our steak dinner. Now you've still got to, build up for dessert, I guess. So I think it does require a little bit of build up, as to what the match is going to be. Does it take place on both nights? One night is cinematic, one night is in the ring, which I think would be the best thing to do. You have one night that's all cinematic on night 1, night 2, it continues into the ring. And that way everybody gets the best of both worlds. But I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on whether or not he's notorious for not being there right after a pay-per-view, but we're so close to WrestleMania. He hasn't been on TV until tonight, for like 92 days. So, I'm hoping that he's I definitely think we're going to get some kind of response from Randy. He's going to be pissing his pants.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I definitely think we're going to get something from Randy. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some kind of interruption from Funhouse Bray, Alexa, something.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily think we get an interruption from the Fiend, but I think we could definitely see something from Funhouse Bray, like, oh, you think you killed him, Randy? You can't kill what's already dead. Kind of joking or around about it, which is what Funhouse Bray is really good at. So I'm excited.
Yeah. That I think all of us here, and then obviously everyone that tunes in every week to this show, everyone's excited at this point. Now I think we have to take the last little bit of this show and look at the other side of it. So, Joe, you're Randy Orton. How do you think Randy changes from here to combat what he just encountered?
Well, first of all, the first thing I'm going to say, and I didn't get a chance to say this to the Abby's listeners, but I know I've said it to you guys. Randy Orton, one of the things everybody wanted, right? Everybody wanted when we were doing Abby's from the very start, they wanted Undertaker versus Fiend. I get it, but what Randy Orton is doing for Bray is unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's going along with this story. He's doing just as great of a job as Alexa is on the other side of it. Whether he goes from being angry like he was when he entered the ring tonight to being deathly afraid when he sees, him come out. Kudos to Randy. Where does Randy go? Well, I think, like Jody said, you don't really need to see Bray as much. I didn't realize it was only 2 weeks. Holy shit. But you don't have to see him. This could be all mind games now, because what you could see, if they wanted to, and they want to make it a little darker, start making those puppets look darker. Start doing something with him. Have a little blood coming down the eyes. Start doing something with them and have him start running into these puppets all over the place backstage. And just start playing more and more mind games and break them down even more, so that once you get him to that match, he's broken. And you don't have to do much at all to finish him off. If I'm Randy, I at this point now, you look at it from a slasher film almost, which is what I like to look at this kind of stuff from. When you're the final guy and the final girl in a slasher movie, and that's usually how it always ends. There's usually always a final girl most of the time, because the guys are just too stupid and they die. But you have the strong final woman in it. Randy is kind of playing the part of the final girl / final guy, but now he's at the point of panic, because you now know there isn't a damn thing you can do to get rid of him. You've burned him. You've done everything you thought you could do to get rid of this problem, and it just keeps coming back. And again, like I said, it's akin to a slasher movie where you think you have him down when Jamie Lee Curtis stabbed Michael Myers countless times, and you think he's dead. Boop, up he pops, and then you're helpless. You don't know then at that point what you can do. You can't beat this. So what do? You look to run. You look to get away. You look to, to anything you can to just try to run, because there's nothing else you can do. So that's where you are if you're Randy's character. You're in panic mode now, because you've done the worst you could do to someone. You burned this dude alive, but he ain't dead. So you're just in panic mode. That's it.
The only thing he could try to do at this point is decapitate him.
Yeah.
Or blow him up.
Don't give them any ideas.
I'm just saying, to quote a line from Scream 3. You know, stabbing him won't work. Shooting him won't work. You basically gotta cryogenically freeze his head, decapitate him, or blow him up.
They blew up Jason Voorhees, and he came back anyway by other people inheriting the demon that was in his body. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Tazzy. Randy Orton. At Mania. What do you think becomes of Randy Orton?
You know, it's funny because I actually, like I said, I feel like the Undertaker and the Fiend are like mirror images of each other. The reason why is we get the supernatural gimmick and everything like that, but it's like more smoke and mirrors. That makes sense. So basically, what the Undertaker did back in the day was basically he made sure that you were scared by the time you got to the ring, and then you're already beaten, right? Exact same thing. But I think Randy Orton is in 20 times worse now. Because he's like, I don't know what I did. I'm going to the ring. I don't even know who this guy is no more because I burned him. I don't know. I don't know what else to do. I burned him. I burned his house down, which was a bad idea in the beginning.
That was your mistake, Randy.
Yeah. What were you thinking? You tried to burn him himself. That didn't work. So Randy's gonna look like I don't know what to do. I'm done. Like, what do I do from here? I might as well just lay down and play dead, basically. maybe he'll go away, which I Randy Orton is in deep trouble, and this actually I just saw we actually got 3 weeks. I forgot. I'm thinking WrestleMania is on the 3rd. It's actually on the 11th. So we got 3 weeks.
3 Raws.
So the next 3 weeks, more likely we're not gonna get the Fiend or anything tomorrow. If anything, it'll be Funhouse. If anything,
Alexa.
Like that. Yeah. So the other weeks, I can't wait.
We're gonna have to get a match stipulation. You know what I mean? They have to announce something,
right?
That's why I think it would be cool with the puppets to start working them with those puppets because you can fit those right in. And the other thing that you guys alluded to with the cocoon, pay attention to that eye. That one eye that was showing on that one side was not the way his eyes looked whatsoever. It was like a light sky colored blue that he had in that side. Blind. Yes. And the other side was the red and yellow contact that he wears. So that could have just been fire damage, sure. But the cocoon idea is really good. That's a really good idea.
We got a hint, I think, of those eyes actually in that match with Randy Orton. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was at one point I was like, he's missing a contact.
Yeah, but it seems as if it was a an
intentional.
I mean that's what it seems like.
And I think that's why fans like us and see wrestling and people that are really, really, really into the story will notice those little changes. Mm-hmm. Like he was missing a contact in that TLC match. Mm-hmm. If anything changes about this appearance, we're going to notice, but the casual fan won't.
Right.
And
what if Randy goes in like crazy, like loses it? Because again, when you asked about that, what if he just loses it? And now you think of almost like a zombie movie, right? When you're going after a zombie, you can't get within a certain range or it'll bite you. What if he gets a hold of him in that costume that he's got now and just starts tearing things from him? It'd be really, really violent. But what if he just starts tearing stuff off of him, and then that's ultimately what shows whatever his final form is going to be, and all that other stuff was just yep.
I love that.
I like
That'd
that
be
too.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. All right, so I got to ask, since it seems like we're on Hollywood Squares right now, the setup that I have on the screen, I've got to ask. Obviously Fastlane ended. How many of us have gone back and rewatched that match?
Oh, I did.
Yeah, I couldn't help it.
I had to, because in the moment you're just focusing on us and the channel
Yeah.
watching, and you're kind of half watching, and you want to go back and look at all those little details.
Yep.
Obviously, we have to watch it with the sound lower, so I wanted to go back and turn it up and actually hear what was going on. But yeah,
What did you pick up on the second watch that you did in the first time? And this is a question for everybody.
I like to hear the commentators' reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely picked up on that. They're like, "Oh my God, what is that?"
Mm-hmm.
A lot like we were. And obviously Alexa was verbally taunting Randy for quite a while as well, that you didn't quite catch the first time around because mine was almost on mute. So, but yeah.
Joe, what about you? What did you pick up on anything upon the second watch?
I love the light thing, and I really tried to watch that, but holy crap, dude, did they get that close to Randy?
Yeah.
Like that was literally close to Randy, like close enough to the point where it's like, whoa, like I kept looking for puppets. I couldn't find them. If they were hidden, and if C found them or something like that, I didn't see them, because I went back actually twice to look, and I was trying to look at shadows, and I was trying to look in the Thunderdome, itself. I was trying to look in there maybe to see if they were on a screen. I couldn't find anything though, so that's really what I was kind of scanning for. But like Jodie said too, the announcers really played it up well. And so, kudos to them, because they're like, oh my God, like what is that in the ring? Yeah. So,
And that made all the difference for me too. When I went back and watched the Hell in a Cell match he had with Seth Rollins, and I know everybody hated that match, but I went back and watched it with the commentary, and I'm like, you know what? They made it way better. They really did. Like, it made so much more sense to me, like with the commentary. And I think, sometimes they're undervalued, but doing what we do, not being able to listen to it and then having to go back and listen to it, you're like, huh, that's a good point. Or, for me, they made that Hell in a Cell match way better.
Yeah. Tazzy, did you watch it again?
Yeah, actually, the funny part about the Hell in a Cell, that's actually pretty funny, because I was there, so I didn't get the commentary, and then when I watched it again, I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
better than.
and that's part of why everything went crazy at the arena, because we didn't know.
Yeah.
But I did watch it again, and me, I love like horror movies and all that like that, and I love like the comedy in it too. So seeing where Randy Orton was like talking, like, and it's like, you trying to kill me? Like, what's that?
that was
like
funny.
That. And then like just Randy's facial reactions and stuff like that. It's like he's still did a cool job. I honestly think it's funny, because you sit there and you actually, if you guys have not watched the thing with him and Stone Cold, this makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of sense on how he's doing this. So yeah. A lot of the comedy and stuff.
I will say that I think it's very interesting that when we first got the Fiend, a lot of it was under the red lights. And with Alexa, now we have the purple light. I think the parallels there, like Jodie had mentioned before with the mirrors and everything, I think that's very telling about where we see her go. Because obviously that's where we saw the Fiend begin. And you can say whatever it is you want to say about, well, fans hated it, so that's why they stopped it. But there was a story behind it. And I think the same can be said for this purple light. So that's one of the things that I noticed upon the second watch is that, okay, we've got this purple light. How is, and this is going to sound weird, but how is Alexa interacting with that aura? How is she interacting with that presence? And what similarities are there between what she's doing currently and what the Fiend did the first few times we saw that red light?
And notice too, going back to the mirror theory, the red light or the purple light appears with her playground character.
Yep.
Not her darker character.
Mm-hmm.
So Funhouse Alexa, Playground Alexa is very much like the Fiend. Her darker side is much more like Funhouse Bray.
That's crazy.
How cool would it be too if they really messed with his head and tomorrow night she shows up, Randy might be backstage, I don't know, something, she might be in the playground and they play some footage and they don't show Bray at all. And like Jeff's talking about the purple light and all of a sudden you see where Bray was, it was Alexa giving him a Sister Abigail.
Huh.
And there was no Bray there whatsoever. Like the whole thing was just in his head. Like that she caused all of this stuff. I'm like,
I dig that, actually. I kind of like
that's
that.
Undertaker-ish.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool? Like the whole that he made that up and like his, he'll say, oh, the Fiend was, and then Alexa's like, what?
What are you talking about?
And the thing is, it goes back to the box. She didn't play the last chorus of the box. So she said not yet. She never played the final chorus. So again, maybe this is an apparition that the purple lights, the stuff with Alexa maybe brought an apparition.
Maybe that's what Randy thinks he looks like.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. See, and this happens every week. We get to the end of this,
And it just gets good.
and it just gets good, and someone says something that's like, huh, okay, like, yeah, I like that. And you start really, man, it just goes to show that, I mean, the possibilities are endless, especially when it comes to Bray Wyatt. So, I'm going to, as we do every week, give Jodie the final thoughts, and then we will head out of here.
I'm just really excited about what's to come. And I always go back to what Kyle always has told us several times, that we haven't seen anything yet. Jason Baker said the same thing. And I still don't think we've seen anything yet. I think we're just now starting to scratch the surface of how deep this story really goes and how much of Bray Wyatt is in this story. And he's an absolute genius. I applaud him for hanging on to this story for dear life and not letting it go and not letting anybody else take it away from him. Kudos to you, Bray, like 100%. And obviously huge kudos to Jason Baker and Tom Savini Studios and Kyle for doing the art and putting this new look together. It's amazing. It still feels like the Fiend because there's still elements of him in there, but it's way darker, and that's what we were warned was coming. So I think things are going to continue to get way darker and more twisted and more sinister, and we're just going to be sitting here constantly going, huh. Okay.
Well, we are going to take off, but we have to leave people with a little gift. So may your nightmares be by the image, the lasting image of this. Is this
Melted fiend mask.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness, this is just getting started, and this is a lot of fun. And I know we all had a lot of fun talking about this tonight. And hopefully, everyone in the chat, you will still talk amongst yourselves and share your theories. And that's what's so fun about this. So for Tazzy, for Joe, for Jodie, and myself, we thank all of you for tuning in tonight for another episode of Abby's Window, and we will see you again next Monday. But just know that if something happens crazy, we might be seeing you a heck of a lot sooner than that. So take care, everyone. Stay safe, and we will see you next time.